Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, and along with Fred Vader, every week we check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Carlos, well, last week was great. We had Thanksgiving and, it was great with the family and all that stuff. But there was that little football game on Saturday that it just brought everything to a screeching halt. My Buckeyes made a complete mess and allowed Michigan to completely humiliate them. This is just, it's just, that hurts, man. The Buckeyes' lack of ability to counter Michigan or stop them was absolutely disappointing. It was hard to watch. I knew the defense was still suspect going in, but the offense could not get anything going. I guess you have to credit the Wolverine defense a little bit, but oh well. You know what they say, Carlos? Just wait till next year, right? So
Yeah,
hey,
not over. It's not over yet. So
well, I don't. Yeah. They're not going to the Big Ten championship. They're probably out. I mean, if USC beats Utah this week, they're in. I mean, there's never been a Pac-12 team in the playoffs, and they want one in there. So that'll be the best shot for them to get in right there until USC and UCLA get in the Big Ten. And then they won't win. Then they'll lose 2 or 3 games every year, and they still won't get in. But whatever. Hey, Carlos. There's still golf going on in the world. We got the Hero World Challenge this weekend. We're going to just mention that briefly. And we got the match coming up, the PNC father-child. Tiger was slated to play 3 times, but I guess that's going to change. So what are we going to talk about tonight, Carlos?
let's talk a little bit about LIV because, they've been.
LIV, that's a unique. We haven't talked about them for, I don't know, like a week or so.
Yeah, I think about 2 weeks we haven't
Oh,
talked,
okay.
but that's a record here. But anyway, there has been some rumors that LIV Golf is shooting down a report that Greg Norman could be replaced as its CEO after the Telegraph reported last Thursday, hey, Norman might be moved upstairs for former TaylorMade CEO Mark King to take over as the CEO of this controversial golf league. A top LIV golf decision maker insisted, hey, that is not true. So Majid Al-Surur, who is LIV's managing director, it's told Sports Illustrated, and I'm going to quote him. She said, Greg Norman is our CEO and commissioner. Any suggestion that changes are being made to Greg's title or role is patently false. End of quote. So as you all know, Greg Norman, former 2-time major champion on the PGA Tour, has been the public face of LIV Golf since it was founded last year in 2021 with the backing of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. The league just wrapped up its inaugural season, which featured 8 tournaments and lured a number of top golfers from the PGA Tour, like Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Smith, Phil Mickelson, and Brooks Koepka. And it is set to expand to a 14-tournament schedule next year. And Norman has been bullied about it. He said, hey, we had just begun. From his perspective, it was a heck of a year, heck of a season, heck of a lunch. Of course, he's the CEO. He has to say all those kind of things. But apparently for now, Fred, he's staying put. Now, those reports are not, but, King is currently the CEO of Taco Bell Corp. After previous stints at Adidas and golf giant TaylorMade. But, when rumors like that started going around and the Telegraph is somebody that, yeah, like any other publication that'll have its up and downs, hits or misses. But when there's rumors, there might be something going on. But for now, at least the official word is he's staying put and there's no changes at the LIV top.
Yeah, from the standpoint of if you try to grade Greg Norman's performance as the CEO of the LIV, you'd have to grade him pretty high, wouldn't you? I mean, he's done a lot of stuff. Let's see here. What I was going to say, you can't. He's brought in all these top names, right? They've created. They got off an 8-event schedule and they've expanded it to 14 events for next year. He's created a tremendous upheaval in professional golf, from the differing format to grabbing big name talent. He's expanding the opportunities for players to earn more prize money with more events, and even expanding the view of the Saudi government into different parts of the world. So this is what his mission was to do, right? Bring these big names in, get a tour going, and show the world that, hey, the Saudi Arabian government isn't that bad. You know, we're good guys over here. And so when you look at it, Carlos, and so we have Rory, excuse me, we have Rory calling for Greg to step back, or, you know, we need an adult in a room to negotiate with. Well, the problem is right now that Greg Norman and the LIV Tour has been so successful, the PGA Tour doesn't have a bargaining chip. What are they going to bargain? They have no position of strength, none, zero. The LIV doesn't need them. The only thing that LIV still needs is a television network and world ranking points. And I think they're going to get the world ranking points right after the first of the year, I think. The RNA has already said, again, they reiterated that they're not going to ban players from the Open Championship, which I know they can't, or nor the US Open can do that either. I know the USGA has not issued a statement on, but it's an open tournament. If guys want to come and qualify, they can be in. They might not have the world ranking points to get in the top 50 to get in automatically, but they can still qualify if they want to. The Masters and the PGA Championship, those are different animals. That's a little different deal. But the guys in the LIV are not giving up that much. So I don't know what bargaining chips or bargaining points the PGA Tour could use to put together some kind of a deal or some kind of accommodation with the LIV. I think right now the LIV has the upper hand. Greg Norman is the guy that set that up. So I don't know why you'd want to even think about getting rid of him. And the other point to that, Carlos, that I want to make before we get off that is that Mark King, he's the guy that ran TaylorMade, that was coming up with new products every 3 months and was just drowning retailers in inventory, and their stock rooms were filled with stuff they couldn't sell because they kept churning out new products every 3 months. He almost single-handedly screwed up the equipment market. Thank goodness, and I shouldn't say this way, but COVID bailed out the equipment companies, and now everything is all wonderful and good. But Mark King pretty much single-handedly was killing the equipment market when he was at TaylorMade, Carlos.
Yeah, that was something that when it came out, that report, I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's the guy that you really want there. And for Rory McIlroy, world's #1 golfer, come and say, and this is the first time that he's actually changed a little bit of the stance, right? Because first it was no LIV, this is not going to happen. But in that interview, when they asked him, can forgiveness be achieved? And he said that there's a few things that I would like to see on the LIV side that needs to happen. Like you're saying, like he has some leverage. You know, you have to do this so I can allow you to exist or be successful or anything like that. When nothing can be further from the truth. They don't need him, like you're saying. And the first thing is get rid of Greg Norman. You know, that's the first thing that has to happen.
That tells Greg he's doing a pretty good job when the other side wants to get rid of you, right?
Of course, because that was my point. If you want to get rid of him, it's because he's the one that's hurting you. That's the only reason why you want him out. And it's unfortunate because, you know, the situation, not about Greg Norman. Greg, I mean, if you come to think about it, when Greg wanted his original world tour, what was the benefit for the golfers? The WGCs. Now he's coming up with this, and what has happened to the PGA Tour? They have increased purses, now more money than ever. So if you come to think about it, Greg has done a great job for them. Why do you want him out? Come on, keep bringing me more money. But anyway,
show me the money. Show me the money.
It's unfortunate that the LIV Invitational and PGA Tour players have engaged in a war of words through the media since the LIV inception, you know, and it's unfortunate also, you know, that antitrust lawsuit that is against the PGA Tour that was since August. But I definitely don't see how that's going to happen. I mean, the only ones that really need something is the PGA Tour for the LIV to stop existing so that they don't have that monkey on their backs and the pressure that they know that if they get ranking points and really a network, they don't need it. They can still stream media, which they're growing their stream media um, uh, people
They
watching.
just need to do a better job with their streaming media. They could have their own channel. They don't have to be on YouTube. That I don't know why they don't do something. I mean, they're putting all this money out. It wouldn't take that much money to be set up and do something. I don't. They don't need Fox. They don't. I mean, there's some channel out. There's some network out there that will pick them up certainly, and do their broadcasting for them. I don't get it really. I don't know why they don't have a deal in place on that. There must be more issues or more problems than I understand with that. I see that as a pretty simple fix.
Well, also you got to understand that there's some previous engagements already with all the other networks, but Fox, which is the one that is open to that, must have already some other commitments as well that they have to move to make sure that this happens. But again, they don't need that, and YouTube is a perfect place as a streaming view because everybody has a YouTube and app in your telephone, so it's going to be easy for anything. And we've talked about this. Is from the first time this year, streaming has been watched more than actually cable TV. So really, they don't need any of those big any of the big networks. They can definitely do it streaming services. But
They just
anyway,
need to get better with their streaming. That's the whole issue right there.
that's part of it, and I think it's part of the growing pains, right? But one thing that is very important to see is how it has affected also the ratings on the PGA Tour, because it was reported that it was down about 40% from the year before, and we've already see that Honda is leaving as one of the sponsors. It was the longest 10-year sponsor leaving. There's a tournament that is dropped off the schedule, the Mayakoba, which is going to be now on the LIV, apparently the first tournament of the year. So you're starting to see some changes. And there's, you mentioned the Hero World Challenge is going to be this weekend, and I wonder now that Tiger's not going to be there, who's going to watch it? Because everybody wanted to know if he was going to be able to play, and now he has that plantar fasciitis on his foot, and he cannot walk per se right now. So with that, it's even worse. So talking about that, I think that really the ones that have to stop bickering and stop protesting and say, hey, let's see what we can do is the PGA Tour and stop all this madness right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really impressed with what Rory has done this year on the whole. I mean, he had a fantastic year of playing golf, and he basically put the PGA Tour on his shoulders, says, okay, boys, come on. We're gonna help promote the PGA Tour. We're gonna make this thing work. And was kind of the adversary for the PGA Tour or for the LIV all year long, and did a great job at it actually. And Roy always comes off as very thoughtful, very candid, is intelligent, and people want to listen when he speaks. And he doesn't get a lot of crazy feedback because he doesn't say a lot of really stupid stuff. What he says makes a lot of sense. Matter of fact, I should mention that in the December issues of the Ohio, Michigan, Indiana golf journals, we're going to talk about the top golf stories of 2022. And of course, the LIV, there's nothing bigger. Even Tiger Woods has to take a back seat this year till the LIV as far as dominating media all year long. And one of the things we talk about is this Rory comment of that you need an adult in the room to help maybe get things put together. Well, and we just talked about that in the fact that, what does the PGA Tour have to bring to the table? And right now, not very much. Carlos, what we know about the LIV Tour going into the 2023 season. Number one, they're going to be up from 8 events to 14 events next year. As you mentioned, they're going to kick off in February in Mayakoba. The fields are going to be expanded to 60 players instead of 48, but they're still 54 holes with no cut. A full 2023 schedule has not yet been released by the LIV, but that should be probably in the next couple of weeks. One of the questions I have, Carlos, for you, what do you think about the guys that the LIV dropped? This sounds all wonderful and, rosy and all this good stuff, but here's some guys that maybe if they got a guarantee or they got some money, whatever, Pablo Larrazabal, Andy Ogletree, Oliver Becker, Oliver Fisher, JC Ritchie, Justin Harding, which, we've been watching Justin Harding. He was a very good player on the European tour, the DP World Tour. Henny Duplessis, we've seen him do well. And the Thai from Thailand, Rachtanan Shentanariwat. I'm sure that's not perfect, but these guys got kicked off the LIV. So they got no place to play right now. They got to go back, try to get on the DP World Tour. They got to play maybe the Asian Tour. They got to find some minor tours to play on, or go get a job in insurance or selling investments or something. The guy from the Thailand, he's only 15 years old. He was the youngest golfer ever to win an official golf ranking event in Thailand. Fisher, you got Becker, Ritchie, Harding, Duplessis, and Larrazabal. They're all playing back on the DP World Tour now with, mixed results. So it's a little bit difficult for some of these guys, Carlos. They went over, now they got no place to go.
Well, they all knew about this, and that's the thing with this tournament. You have a certain amount of players that can only play, but during that year that you were there, you're going to have your salary guaranteed. So at least it's going to be a year that you're going to have, whether you play good or not, you're going to have an amount of money that you're going to be earning. But they knew that going in, and of course, as more players with better rankings or better, better play will come in, there's going to have to be a drop off. Now, whether the LIV tour does something associating with another tours or anything to try to make life a little easier for those who are not going to be on that top 48 or 54, that's remains to be seen what's going to happen. But until, I know that PGA Tour they cannot play, but there's other places like the DP World Tour that they can play, which was where they were playing anyway. So you make it for a year, go back, you can make it again. That's what's going to be it. I think that's going to be the way in the future that's going to work. You're going to just hop in between tours, which is Greg Norman's big point is you're a free agent and you go wherever you want to go play. And once that gets solved, then that will be just easy. They'll play wherever it is. They'll get the guarantee money. And if you fall out, you just go to one of the other tours and just play. And that's how it should be, really. The problem right now is just the PGA Tour is the only one banning them from playing ever again there. And they should just get over it. Just keep offering a good product, and you'll see. They'll be playing from one to the other, and you'll have your tour.
Carlos, I keep coming back though to can you really take a golf tour seriously that has a guy like Pat Perez that doesn't come close to a top 10 finish all year long, but still ended in the top 10 in total money earned because he's on this team with Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, and Taylor Gooch that all had strong finishes. And so he earned over $3 million in team payouts, earned a little bit more, for some top 25 finishes, made $4 million and really played like crap all year. Can you really take a tour seriously when you've got that kind of situation?
I can. It's just a different situation. They have expressed it. It's a team competition and there's an individual competition. He was just lucky to be part of the best team all year long. So hey, that just happens. You were that fourth wheel that everybody was carrying there, and you reap the benefits. And that's part of the team competition of it, which is not known to be anywhere else. And that's what's innovative about this. But anyway, can you see Pat Perez staying on that team or on LIV if more good players come in? He will be one of the next ones to be booted out. If
he stays up, if he keeps making that kind of money, he finished like 8th or something like that. He finished top 10 in total money for the year
But
on the
that's
LIV
because of the team earnings. But
because the team, as
to
long as he
stay there,
stays,
you have to
yeah,
be also you have to also produce on the individual basis. So for
yeah.
now he's safe. But I bet you that if some other good players come in, he'll be one of the first ones to be booted out for sure.
Carlos, to answer the original question that we started with tonight, though, is it time for Greg Norman to exit, as Rory has called for? Yeah, that would be great, but I don't see that happening. And as I mentioned earlier, in every aspect, he seems to be succeeding and doing exactly what the Saudi investors want to have done. He's created this tour, and it's doing well. It's getting a lot of media attention. He's pulled these players in. They've got money. Like I say, the only thing they need yet are the OWGR points and a TV deal of some kind, or better streaming or something, so that people can actually see the tournaments. So once they get that all figured out, and then the other side of this thing is, even like Roy says, if you get the LIV to the table, what does the PGA Tour, what do they have to bargain with? They got nothing. They got their hat in their hand, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's I don't know why Greg or the LIV would even want to talk to PGA Tour. Keep doing what they're doing, because they're being very successful at it, Carlos.
Yeah, I don't think it's time to move Greg Norman, even if he's not good at managing, which is not his job anyway. He's the face that you want, because he's the one that is getting the attraction, all the attention there, just because he's Greg Norman and the things that he said. If you could bring the guy from TaylorMade, or right now Taco Bell, whatever, who he is, I mean, he might be a great mind managing stuff and being a CEO, but he doesn't bring anything to the table to call the attention, just like Greg Norman is doing right now, which is what LIV needs. Right now, they need a face, even though if he does good or bad and the things that he's saying, but they're bringing attention to the tour. And that's what really is all about right now. It's about getting that face time everywhere. And that's what Greg Norman is going to bring them. So I don't think they're going to move away from that.
I'm agreeing with you 100%, Carlos.
All right. So, hey, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in golf news and information. Remember to subscribe to our channel. The description has the link to do so. Thank you for joining us.